Hi, I'm Simone Novello.
And I'm Fiona Anson. Welcome to part one of our series on finding and signing strategic alliances. We're really excited to have you on board and to be able to tell you more about why this is such an awesome marketing method for your business.
Okay, the 6-part series runs for about an hour, so each video is around 10 minutes or less. And we've done it this way deliberately so that we can guide you through each stage of the process and you can implement as you go.
As a business owner, you'd know that there are two major problems you're fighting all the time, and they are time and money. Time because there's so much to do in the limited hours you have in a day, and money because unless you're different to most, there's a limited amount of budget, and let's face it, marketing can be a really expensive exercise, especially when you consider that there are no guarantees as to success. Often, it's just a try it and see. Whether it's digital, and that's online things like AdWords, banner ads, SEO and site advertising, or whether it's offline like newspaper and magazine ads, events and TV and radio, it's all a bit hit and miss. And because a lot of the success of mediums like those depend on frequency, that is, you just can't do it once, the cost involved is not small.
Marketing is, after all, about repeating the message, isn't it, Fiona?
Absolutely.
And that's where the costs add up or an investment is lost because the budget ran out before the audience heard it often enough to act.
Yeah, and that's why partnership marketing is so awesome, because the cost is negligible in the scheme of things and the success rate is often huge. So let's look at why. Simone, talk about one of my favourite case studies that you always use.
Okay, Madonna and Justin Timberlake. Celebrities do this really, really well, and this is a great example. I love this because it's an unlikely partnership. You've got a woman at the time in 2008, Madonna was 50, Justin Timberlake was 27. Who would have thought they'd hook up? But not only that it was so successful. Madonna, as we know, is an absolute master of marketing. And one of the reasons she's so good at what she does is because of her ability to innovate and surprise. And that's where partners can be critical to a business in terms of reinventing a tired brand or product or service, or helping a startup business to gain the credibility and visibility they need quickly. So with this particular song, 4 Minutes, just a few statistics. The song was #1 in 21 countries. It had 2 Grammy Award nominations. It had over 5 million views on YouTube, whereas Madonna's Like a Virgin had under 4 million. It also broke Elvis Presley's record for Madonna as the artist with the most number of top 10 hits. So, as you can see, the alliance was incredibly successful for both Madonna and Justin Timberlake.
You might also recall, Simone, another certain collaboration that Madonna did with Britney Spears, who interestingly enough was JT's ex. And that was a kiss that sent both of their notoriety soaring and did wonders for both of their careers. Coincidentally or not, it was the year prior to that song's release.
Yes, I don't think it was a coincidence. But you know, whether it gave you goosebumps or made your skin crawl, that collaboration between Madonna and JT made them all a hell of a lot more money. So what impresses me, or I guess great examples that we can draw from, is celebrities. They are really, really good at this. They partner up all the time. And while some of those partnerships are pretty fleeting, more times than not, they still have a huge impact.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the kings of doing this was, in fact, Michael Jackson. Every time his career flagged, he'd partner up with another profile artist of the time and release another record, which more often than not soared to the top of the charts. And that just proves the power of a collaboration. And if you're in any doubt as to who they may be, think about Paul McCartney, Slash, and of course Britney Spears. And that's just the top of a very long list. But let's get serious. You see, your alliance partner can expose you to an audience of their clients, contacts, and even other partners. Think about the logic behind that. What's easier, finding one or finding one who has your target market en masse?
Then imagine finding multiple alliance partners who have the same target market as you. Once you find a partnership formula that works for you, the leverage multiplies. So instead of going out and finding 1,000 customers and 1,000 customers and 1,000 customers, you could find 3 marketing partners that have all of those customers that you want.
So how would that revolutionise a business, Simone? I mean, it's an incredible way to market.
And here's where you can legitimately have multiple partners without having to join a cult. In fact, we encourage it.
That is, not joining the cult. having multiple strategic alliance partners. And the big guys know how awesome this strategy is as well. Here's three that I'm sure you'll recognise. Donald Trump aligned with Mark Burnett, who was the creator of the Survivor series, and together they created The Apprentice. Now, that was a show that made Donald Trump one of the highest paid TV personalities of all time and the owner of a star on Hollywood Boulevard, a feat that he would never have accomplished on his own. And Bill Gates, the owner of Microsoft, owes his place on the business map to his early partnership with IBM and subsequent partnerships with all the major PC manufacturers. In fact, Bill once said, from very early on, our success has been based on partnerships, and wouldn't you like some partnerships of the type that he has? And then finally, Sir Richard Branson, founder of the Goliath Virgin Empire, also puts his success down to very strategic alliances with other businesses. So there's one thing that these guys, or in fact anyone who's used strategic alliances as a marketing strategy, knows, that your network equals your net worth. It boils down to this: the more people who know about you and trust your brand, the more you'll sell.
You see, as a business owner, you have lots of business relationships. You've got prospects, customers, connections such as suppliers, joint venture partners, and strategic alliances. So, as an example, what we find is that quite often your partner prospects are sitting right under your nose. You already know them. So, a supplier such as a cosmetic brand may actually fund a promotion for a department store or put up a major prize. Another great example are film promoters and the fact that they will often put together wow, money can't buy travel prizes to launch a new film that they partner with a film distributor like Village, so an actual cinema. So there are lots of places where you can find partner prospects, and I think what's really interesting is about 95% of business owners that we talk to don't realise that those partners are sitting right in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that's even more important, and have a think about this, the alliance partners that you're currently aligning with have their own networks. And if those networks are also aligned to what you do, there's a decent chance that that network may also be aligned with you too. So think of the scope of the opportunities that that might present.
But it's not just target market access that makes these alliances so powerful. Your alliance network can open up doors for you in a whole host of areas. You could get new customers, you can value add existing relationships, you can gain visibility to build your brand, and you can do it fast. You can increase your credibility by association with key brands. And you can access new markets. So you may have partners in other global markets that you've not yet entered, and partnering with those organisations can be a much easier way of gaining access to those markets.
Yes, Simone, I think a lot of people think that strategic alliance is all about swapping databases. But at the end of the day, there's a whole host of benefits and a lot that you may not even think of that you can get from strategic alliances and from specific alliance partners. So, have we convinced you? A strategic alliance is an awesome marketing tactic. However, it is like a marriage. If you get it right, it's a match made in heaven. But if you get it wrong, it could be a very costly divorce. So here's a checklist of things that you need to ensure yours has to make it work.
Clear communication, including setting and managing the right expectations from the beginning, is really, really important. Don't promise the world and deliver an atlas because you'll get off on the wrong start.
The other thing that's really important is value alignment, and I've got a really interesting case study on that one. I went into a meeting a little while ago with somebody I was looking to have a strategic alliance with, and during that meeting I heard this person talk about cutting people out of deals. Immediately I felt that it would only be a matter of time before I would be cut out of a deal, and certainly that's not a value that I cherish. So it's really important that your values fit with the alliance partner or prospective alliance partner that you're speaking with.
I had a similar experience, Fiona, when I was meeting with a company that was actually competitive to ours but targeted slightly different markets. And I was open to doing an alliance because sometimes it makes sense even if you are in some ways competitors.
Absolutely.
But she made a comment over the course of this coffee where she talked about, I talked about another expert around the globe and some interesting work they were doing. And her immediate comment was, are there any ideas we can steal? And so straight away that made me realise this is not someone I would be getting into bed with.
No, I don't. I think it's really important to pay attention to the language that your potential alliance partners use, and things like stealing ideas and cutting people out of deals is a value that they have, and certainly you don't want to be cut out of a deal or have ideas stolen when you're in the middle of a strategic alliance with somebody.
And I think like any relationship, it's really important that you go through the process of getting to know someone and test the water before you jump into bed with them.
Like a marriage, as I said earlier, it is like that kind of relationship. So you wouldn't marry someone you just met. You wouldn't have a strategic alliance with someone you've just met.
Exactly. The cultural fit's also really important. So an example of this is I've seen alliances between very entrepreneurial companies and very conservative companies. And it's often like mixing oil and water. It just doesn't work. It's hard work from start to finish. So think about the cultural fit of the organisations that you're looking to partner with as well.
The next thing that's really important is that you go into any alliances with an attitude of win-win, that you take a real win-win approach. You want a genuine desire to see both yourself and your strategic alliance partner win in a proportional way. Now, that doesn't mean that if I go into an alliance and I expect 200 new clients, that my alliance partner might also expect 200 new clients. In fact, it could be two very different outcomes that you're both hoping to get from the alliance. And again, I've got an example of an alliance that I went into, whereas we swapped access to a database for skill sets. Two very different outcomes, but we were both winning in a proportional way.
The other thing is written agreements. So as well as you may get along with your alliance partner, you want to protect that relationship from little things like misunderstandings. And you want to make sure that you're all on the same page. So whilst you shouldn't get bogged down in complicated contracts and loads of legal jargon and legal fees, you should ensure that all expectations, responsibilities and contributions are clearly documented to minimise the possibility of those little misunderstandings creeping in and damaging the relationship or the campaign. And during the course of this series, Fiona and I have provided a couple of templates you'll find extremely useful that we've had a lot of success with.
So let's get down to the questions that you might have now. Where do you go to meet potential alliance partners? What have you got to offer them? How do you actually make the approach? What is it that you say to them? How do you seal the deal? How do you deliver on what you said you were going to? And what happens on an ongoing basis?
It can be very daunting. So we come across a lot of business owners who are scared of rejection. They're just scared of the no. But with a little bit of guidance of what does and doesn't work, it actually becomes fun as well as productive.
And not to mention incredibly profitable. So why, who, what, when and how? Well, all those questions will be answered in the upcoming parts of this free series. But first you've got some work to do.
So where do we start? Before you approach anyone, you need to have a think about what you hope to achieve. What are your aims and objectives? What role will your partners play in your business? What do you want to get out of a strategic alliance? It's really important to stay focused on what you're trying to achieve.
So you might want to have a think. What's your biggest problem at the moment? Do you need new prospects, new customers, new clients? Do you need to establish a new distribution channel? If so, what type? Do you need to test new products or services? And don't limit yourself to these. There's a whole stack of things that you can do with great strategic alliance partners. So have a think. What's your biggest challenge at the moment? And feel free to share it on our Facebook page below, because this is a community of people who are willing to help. And hey, you never know, you just might find what or who you're looking for in our community, or at the very least, get some valuable input, advice, tips, and of course, stay connected.
So download the worksheet and simply write down your top 3 objectives for the next 12 months.
And then tomorrow you'll receive part 2 of the series, where we'll hone in on who should make your partner prospect list. So keep an eye on your inbox. We'll talk to you then.
Bye.